Welcome to the Eclectic Thrifter and Crafter, where we thrift and craft with purpose. It's Tea Tuesday, or in my world, Crafty Tuesday. Pour yourself a cup of tea and I'll catch you up with the last bit of footage that I have for the build. It all started with an abandoned box of doll furniture, and in the next couple of weeks, you'll see the results, and hopefully, with a few creative alterations of my own, it will look almost like this. What you're looking at now was the last step in reverse engineering. Because I'm not familiar with carpentry or engineering, I had to build a structure and then break it down into modules. So the rooftop is a single module that will rest on the modules of the third floor and act as a cap for the entire piece. I was shooting for next Tuesday for the reveal, but I decided I'm going to touch up all the stain work before I share it with you. The stairway modules for the first, second, and third floor will be completed in a separate video, as will the spiral staircase for the library. But the floors will be all touched up, and the stenciling that I plan to do, I'll probably do that more toward the holidays. These supports surround the house. They are mounted to the foundation. These supports enable me to make sure that the doors have a secure place to hang. So these are simply the library doors. This will be the exhibit room as well as the attic at the top. I did choose to put a balcony on each end, so those windows actually become balcony doors. This wall goes between the two towers, and through these windows you're going to be able to see 3 fireplaces when it's all lit up. One of my delays was going around and making sure everything was square and everything was measured properly before I started any of the paper mache work. The shelves in the build actually become part of the main support system for the build, and that works out just fine because they're not going to be changeable anyway. This faux wall will be the hidden door to the bedroom, and there will be wallpaper on both sides, and on the library side there will be a table that will actually be attached to the wall. The stairwells are also hall units, and there will be one door that will lead to a bathroom on the second floor, but they will act as a support system for the floor above. These are just mock-ups, so I get an idea about placement. Delayed by life, but also by mistakes that I made along the way, because I am not a carpenter and I am not an engineer, and I was working from a picture. So I want to share that I did make mistakes and I had to recover from those errors, and it was all part of the learning process. I did have to make new walls for the library, but nothing went to waste. I just used the old wall material to make the balconies and the rooftops for the balconies for the other parts of the build. So nothing went to waste. I did my best to recycle as much as I could, and even gluing pieces of wood together to make solid pieces for walls. I made as much square footage out of viable pieces as I possibly could. I will share the footage of the reconstructed library with you this Sunday when I share with you mixing of the paper mache with the French green clay. So that will be a separate video in itself, and then after that will be the full reveal. For some of the smaller edging, because it was easier and it was quite convenient, I used large paint sticks and yardsticks because they're pre-cut and pre-sanded, and I also had an excess number of honey cell frames from the beehives. Whenever I order a new bee box, I always get a dozen frames, and they end up being extras. I don't need them because I have a stockpile of them. So I decided to use them as the pillars and end caps for the walls. The end caps of the walls are now nice and sturdy. If I do decide to connect the walls with dowels, there's a nice foundation for the dowels. They made excellent pillars for the front and back porch as well as the balconies. Here we have the front porch. I'm completing the roof line for that. And here you see the pillars made out of the repurposed honeycell frames. And I've repurposed a piece of wood here that was a mistake. I accidentally cut that one in half, so I'm going to repurpose it and use it for the rooftop for the front porch. As you can see, I made the walls in this piece nice and thick, and that is so I can drill through and run electricity through the walls and floors. I will be able to put a lovely porch light in this front porch. This is the back porch, and it goes between the kitchen and the dining room. On the front of the house, I did have a fixed wall in front of the library. I did make the decision to cut that fixed wall into modules so that it will open to the right, and you can look into the library on each floor, and it will also have a balcony at the top, making that into a functioning door system enabled me to be able to have the front porch and the two balconies above the front porch open more conveniently as little doors. So at this point, I'm preparing to put the new library walls together, and so we're going to take a trip around the house, make sure everything is square. That's the last thing that needed to be done were the library floors. The center wall between the towers is upside down. I just noticed that, but it's all better now. I'm getting an idea of where all the balconies are going to go. I decided I wanted a lot of balconies. I wanted it to be a fun house with lots of little windows that could be decorated for the holidays so you can see all the activity inside when it's lit up. I did change the design of the foundation because I decided I was too inexperienced to be fancy, and so I squared it off. This means that I had to add additional wall portions to the door to the library on this side, as well as the fixed wall where the fireplace chimney is. You see, that's where the Inglenook hearth is going to be. So that's done, and on the top there, that is going to be a walkway, and there'll be an additional door that will come out, and it'll be a private balcony walkway for the exhibit room. So we're going to wind up this video with the remaining footage that I have where I began to sculpt the roof. The roof line reflects an oriental theme. I did sculpt it out of this insulation foam as well as the paper mache. So the theme of the house does have kind of an oriental twist. It's going to be part of the backstory of the family that lives there. So this kind of gives you an idea of what to expect in a couple of weeks. I was beginning to stress out because I was not meeting deadlines that I had set for myself, but I was working at this as I would if I were sculpting out of clay, and I realized that that's just how I work. I would add something and take it away, just like I would if I were doing a competition, but I were using clay instead of wood. So I did have to give myself a little grace because I was approaching this project more as an art project rather than a construction project, because as a former competitive artist, that is just how, it's just sort of my nature to approach things as an artist would rather than a carpenter, because I'm not a natural carpenter. It's been fun. I'm enjoying how it's turned out, and I'm excited to decorate it for Christmas. I hope I'll be able to make another one sometime, if my husband will let me. He would like his garage back. He's very anxious to get his garage back. And it's been dusty, but it's been fun. It's been a long year. A year went by pretty fast. So here we are. And this is just as I was sailing into the finish line. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Please like and subscribe. Share my thrifting and crafting channel with your thrifting and crafting friends and help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. I welcome your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. Check us out on Instagram and tap that notification button for upcoming announcements of thrifts and crafts. But most of all, have a lovely, lovely day.